go to the pull side. And the pitch misses away to start off Tommy White. A .347 average for the junior from St. Pete Beach, Florida. Started his college career at North Carolina State. 1-1. We've talked a ton about Tommy White for good reason, but I'm more focused right now on the freshman on the mound for South Carolina facing Tommy White. What does a clean first mean for Tommy Pitzer?
Clean first to be huge, especially with the way this lineup's been swinging to make a play.
You were on it.
And, you know, this is one where you got to control your emotions. He's pitched in some SEC games. He started some SEC games, but he hadn't started one here. And especially when you got the lineup on the other side that LSU has, because these two teams did not face each other during the regular season.
Pitzer is a freshman from McDonald, Pennsylvania, out of South Fayette Township High School. And his season high in innings came against Vanderbilt on March 24th. It was the first of 3 consecutive conference starts. He faced Vandy, Bama, and A&M. 1-2 to Tommy White. Upstairs. Tyler Pitzer was rated number 4 right-handed pitcher in the state of Pennsylvania by Perfect Game coming out. Ground ball up the middle off the curveball. Parker Nolan. 2 down.
It's the game sometimes will maybe trick you a little bit. So both of those are probably 100 to 105 off the bat, and it's 2 quick outs. And then you start kind of feeling yourself on the mound, like, yeah, I got it today. I mean, and he might end up getting there, but both balls hit hard, just both right at South Carolina defenders.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean this is a big deal or a big game? I'm just out here throwing strikes, getting outs. Jared Jones has homered 23 times this season. Curveball to start him off. 0-1. Sophomore from Marietta, Georgia. 6'4", 253. OPS over 1100. One ball, one strike. South Carolina lost its last 6 games of the regular season, swept by Tennessee and Georgia. The breaking ball has been magnificent, 2-2. And there was no panic. They said, what do you mean? We got our backs against the wall. We've got a good record. We've got a great RPI. We're in line to host just 2 weeks ago. And now here they are 2-0 in the tournament. Jones committed to it. And it's a 1-2-3 frame. Works. And Brindling will lead things off for South Carolina here. South Carolina team that had a fantastic season last year. Even though they weren't as red hot as they started, they won 34 of their first 40 and ended up in a super regional against Florida. It was a 42-win season for Mark Kingston last year. A 1 miss low, and Kingston spoke to the media coming into this tournament. He said it's not as doom and gloom as it may seem on the outside. It's not how we feel. We played 18 games against the top 7 teams in the RPI. It's a ridiculously hard schedule. Survived it, came out on the other end. And that's how they played through the first 2 games here.
They played loose, which, you know, you would think if you're coming in having lost your 6th straight, that may not always necessarily happen. But for South Carolina, it served them pretty well. And taking any doubt about whether they're in the postseason, definitely out of play.
Brindling chops that one foul. He was at North Florida last year. First team A-Sun performance at 386. It's been a wild, winding road for Brindling, who walked on at Florida in the fall of 19. Didn't see action in 20. The COVID year shut everything down. Then the seniors got an extra year back, and the Florida staff just kind of said, hey, listen, you're a walk-on. We don't have much space. So he had to restart his career, ended up at Daytona State Junior College. And he said, I didn't really have many options coming out of Daytona State, ends up at North Florida and hits the absolute snot out of the ball. They end up coming here as the 5th best average in school history. And that opened up an opportunity at South Carolina.
It just means you got a lot of gear.
That's right.
Got a lot of different colored pullovers right now. So that's the good one. And when the good one gets going with a fastball, man, he can go on a run. Don't look at the ERA as an indication of what Thatcher Hurd can go out and do when it's really working right. We've seen how good Gage Jump has done down the stretch. Holman's been so good the entire year. If they can get this guy going, they got a chance to be pretty special for the balance of the year.
Ethan Petrie gets tied up on a 95-mile-an-hour first ball. That's quite a combo going from that hook to that.
95 elevated, that stays right there, and then a curveball that looks like the exact same thing when it comes out of his hand.
Petrie was a darling of college baseball through the first couple of months last year. Freshman year coming out of Cypress Creek High School. Ended up being a 2nd-team All-American, 1st-team All-SEC as a freshman. Hit 23 home runs, was 5th in the league in average, 6th in home runs. He's actually 2 behind his home run pace coming into this game, and he says that's not fair. 96 painted the black.
Guy hits 20 each of his first 2 years, and you're talking about he's behind his pace. Elevated expectations.
That's what happens. Darn media. Top 5 in school history already with 44 home runs through 2 seasons, and tied for 11th with double-digit home runs to the opposite field. He's slugging .1351 to right field. That is 4th best in the country. And they got the shift on him on the infield. Punched out at 95, and Petrie didn't like 2 of those. He says that's brutal.
Javale January behind home plate, and I know Petrie may not like him, but by the book, that one looks like a strike. And it plays into the hand of Thatcher Hurd, because when it's going right, it's going to be that elevated fastball. And if he can get that strike called, then you start climbing the ladder and go a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And South Carolina's got to go into swing mode a little bit earlier.
And so here's Blake Jackson, the right fielder. Has great speed. He's batting in the 3 hole. Transferred in from Charlotte. Curveball stays up. As a pitcher, did you ever get the feeling that, I don't want to say bad zone because it's not, but a wide zone got into the hitters' heads that you could take advantage of?
It absolutely gets into the hitters' heads because you got to attack differently.
And it's just as much knowing that you have more latitude at a wider zone and like making Berkey putt out sometimes.
Yeah, which you should do every time. But they all start talking. I mean, everybody goes back to the dugout and, hey, man, it's, that was a little up. And then the next guy says that was a little up. And it may not be up, but now you're setting the mental expectation for everybody else.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Thatcher Hurd. Jackson 2 seasons with Charlotte. 22 season was limited due to injury, and can't find 95, 2-2. Winner's bracket game. The winner gets tomorrow off, which is a huge advantage given their pitching depth situations on both sides. And especially considering what is awaiting each of these teams next week. They would both be on the road in the NCAA tournament, although you give any credence to a South Carolina tournament championship, put them in a hosting spot?
That may be a little stretch.
Okay. Just giving the people something to watch for, KP.
I didn't say it's impossible. I just said it may be a little bit of a stretch.
Breaking ball muscle to left field, and Braswell can't quite get to it. Blake Jackson, a little duck snort, reaches with a 2-out single, and that extends the inning for the most dangerous and the hottest hitter in this tournament, Cole Messina. This dude's in a zone. Junior from Summerville, South Carolina. After the win yesterday, he said, yeah, we had a rough 6 games before this tournament, but we turned it around in 2 games, and we feel like we're back to who we are, and we can make a run. Off speed to start him off, 0-1. Out of Summerville High School, 4 letters in high school. He only hit 2 home runs his senior year. He has hit 19 home runs this season.
2 home runs his senior year in high school.
That's right.
And how many did he hit yesterday in the game?
He hit 2. And I would assume a high school season is a little bit longer than 2 days, because in the last 2 days he's hit 3, which is more than his senior year. Heating up at the right time.
Oh, 2 pitch. Runner goes. Strike 3. Thatcher Hurd with.
At the end of the day, does it keep them a little bit closer? I don't know if it makes any difference the way they're playing.
Here's Josh Pearson at the plate, and he looks at a first pitch strike. Junior from West Monroe, batting in the cleanup spot, has homered 6 times and driven in 25. Really, the only change for LSU over the previous 2 games is the insertion of the freshman Jake Brown in center field. Chance to get him some run for Jay Johnson, and the breaking ball just off the plate from Tyler Pitzer. Outside, ball 4. Pitcher needed just 10 pitches to get through the first, and now a leadoff walk. Here's Hayden Travinsky, senior from Shreveport out of Airline High School. Has increased his home run total from last year's national championship team at 10 last year, sitting on 15 this year. Is a threat. Pearson doesn't run much, only 4 attempts.
The biggest thing to watch right now with pitcher, you get him in the stretch for the first time, and sometimes that's when getting a little bit too excited can really hurt you, and that fastball starts climbing up in the zone and up and out of the zone like that.
Got a sword, 1-2.
Got the check swing, but your body moves a little bit quicker than your arm does towards home plate. When your arm's lagging, usually it's up and into a right-handed hitter like it was right there to Travinsky. Ideally, kind of like to see him focus on a few glove side fastballs to get through everything and get that timing down towards home plate.
5th season in the program for Travinsky, and he looks at the fastball below the knees. 2-2. Travinsky homered yesterday against Kentucky. It was his first this month. Ball skied behind the plate. Messina gives it a look. Petrie in on the logo. 1 down. And here's Stephen Milan. LSU's had some success with middle infielders from New Mexico. Kid named Bregman from Albuquerque, and here's Milan from Las Cruces out of Centennial High School. Threw it away. Pearson will break for second, and he'll stay there.
This is it's one thing to keep a guy close, But if Pearson has a lead like that, there's no reason to spin and try to pick him off, because you're not going to pick him off. I mean, he's 2 steps off of first base. Jay Johnson's going to argue as to whether or not there was interference. I don't think there is right there. Petrie's trying to make a play, ends up on top of Pearson for a minute. Glad he didn't step on his hand. That spike came down really close to his left hand.
Back to Milam and delivers a strike. 0-1. On top of that, Pitzer doesn't have a single pickoff all season. So. One. I think maybe Jay's argument for obstruction has been, if you've watched this tournament, with all the foul territory, it's typical that you're going to get an extra base on a throwing error over at first base. Going to score anyway, perhaps. Blake Jackson comes up throwing, and the throw home is high. Gets all the way to the dugout and out of play. And that'll be an extra base for Stephen Milam. And a couple of errors in this second inning for South Carolina have cost the Cox.
Well, a couple errors, and that's a physical error and it's a mental error on the mound. Because when this throw comes in, pitcher's standing right in the middle of the diamond, and there is zero reason to be there. The minute this ball goes in the outfield, you go back up and you get as deep as you possibly. But it was the error that pushed the base runner to second, and then the mental error that ultimately was a 2-base mental error.
Now here's Jake Brown. Mac Bingham had been starting in center field. Brown getting an opportunity. The infield in. First pitch strike to Brown. The freshman from Sulphur, Louisiana, who was a sensational pitcher in high school, and he may just be a pitcher at LSU before all is said and done, in addition to playing some outfield. Pulls it foul. I feel like these are the opportunities and at-bats for freshmen that pay off in spades year 2, year 3, no matter how much experience you have. 0-2. Strike 3. And pitcher taking advantage of that up strike zone right at the letters. Same one Thatcher Hurd got in the first.
That's the zone. The zone is that fastball up. Gerald January has been calling a strike, and you see it pretty consistently. You also see when the hitter stands up, that's about belt high if they're standing straight up. So it may look a little bit higher when they're in a squat, but that's the top end of the strike zone. Gerald January has been consistent so far. Now South Carolina can move that infield back to their normal position.
Pitcher stands in the sunlight, pitching into the shadows, and Ashton Larson, freshman out of the Kansas City area, Overland Park, Kansas, out of St. Thomas Aquinas. Ahead in the count 1-0. It's the first meeting of the season between these two programs, and the third straight tournament opponent for LSU that is a brand new opponent on the year. 1-1 to Larson. 20th round pick of the Twins, coming out of St. Thomas Aquinas last summer. Turned him down to come to school, and now they count 1-2. Tyler Pitzer delivers. Breaking ball handled by Messina at the buckle. Larson is the 8-hole hitter for LSU. Milam dancing off third. He came quarter of the way down the line. Did see an attempted steal of home last night.
Just about worked. Milam's over there just trying to see if he can draw a balk.
Pitcher's committed 1 balk this year. 2-2. Here's the payoff to Larson with Milam off third. Kingston in South Carolina were in position to host a couple of weeks ago before they finished the season with tough opponents in Tennessee and Georgia. 3-2 is lifted to center. Greenling back, still going back, and onto the warning track. A run though after a lead. Former Commodore Parker Nolan leads off. .265 average with 3 home runs, and Nolan has driven in 27. Breaking ball for a strike.
Good sign right there. Nolan only has 3 home runs this year, but 2-0 LSU goes to the breaking ball, which probably tells you that's the one that Thatcher Hurd has the most comfort in throwing for a called strike right now.
Fastball ran in, 3-1. Hurd was on the regional all-tournament team last year and a winning pitcher in the championship game in Omaha. Clinched LSU's 7th national championship. One year at UCLA and now in his 2nd at LSU. Payoff is lifted foul, and that one will be all the way back to the concourse. Listen, my man was not going to surrender the food for a baseball.
He made a quick transition to try to make a little bit of a play and then showed 0 interest in the baseball. We are locked into whatever is in that cup, and you never know what's in that cup.
Shout out Nick. Swing and a miss for Nolan. Thatcher Hurd's got it grooving. He has struck out 4 out of 5.
Breaking ball right there. The first 3 were looking. This time, late swing from Nolan. I think you read that and think it's up and out of the zone, then recognize breaking ball, and right at the last minute try to get a piece to stay alive. Stuff looks good so far for Thatcher Hurd.
And here's Kennedy Jones. Breaking ball misses away. Jones, a junior from Norfolk, Virginia. Maury High School, and then North Carolina Greensboro. He was first team All-Southern Conference and 2nd in that league in hits. And he smokes one into center field. 1-out single for Kennedy Jones. Bring Dalton Reeves to the plate.
There was the breaking ball. Went in a bad spot. The inside part of the plate. That's a good move to it right there. Pull the hands in. Get enough of the barrel to it. Single in the first was a little flare to left. That time Kennedy Jones recognized spin, and he's on there with a 1-out single.
Here's Dalton Reeves in his short pants. And he belts it deep right field. Larson at the track, at the wall, and makes the catch. Retreating at first is Kennedy Jones. Gave that one a ride. It was 39 degrees off the bat and just a hair too high.
10 home runs on the year. When Reeves gets it, it's got a chance to go. And the freshman who made a beauty in right yesterday finds that wall. He's about a step in front of it. Over the course of the season, Thatcher Hurd has only given up 4 home runs in 34 2/3 innings, but was about 5 feet away from number 5.
Here's Talmadge LeCroy. Swing and a miss in 94. He'd been playing third last year. Mark Kingston kind of shuffled things up defensively, and they'll do the same if they get a lead, but opting for a little bit more offense. We'll chat with him next half inning. 0-1. Junior from Belton, South Carolina. He was on the all-regional team in Columbia last year. Averages dipped from last season, down about 50 points. And despite that, with LeCroy in the 8-hole and Casas in the 9-hole, there's still threat at the bottom of this Gamecock batting order based on the back of the baseball card. Somebody just get booed.
You better not boo that kid. He got it, so you can't boo him. Yeah, somebody got booed. Well, not him.
Nope.
We're cheering for him.
Swing and a miss at 94. 5 strikeouts. Sue and I were doing an interview here one time, and you literally got hit by a ball. Like Schloss can complain because people hit home runs when he's doing interviews.
That better not happen right now, because I won't be as patient as Slosh if that does happen.
It's totally understandable. Everybody knows how you guys finish the season. My question is, how do you balance the emotion of these young guys when you play in the toughest conference in college baseball? And those things happen over the course of a season. How do you keep their spirits up and say, listen, no big deal, we're good?
Well, you just have to maintain a stable environment. You have to have a good disciplined environment where the guys know in this league there's ups and downs, and if you prepare for that before they ever happen, then you can handle it better. That's the bottom line. You know you're taking punches and throwing punches in this league, and if you just survive it, if you endure it, by the time you get to here, you're going to be a really good team, and we are.
Hey, Mark, Thatcher Hurd so far. Obviously, the fastball elevated has been good. The breaking ball solid. The question isn't necessarily about scouting report coming in, but it's more when you see a guy that looks like that in the first 2 innings, do you start to make any offensive adjustments, or you kind of still like what the plan is?
No, we have a good plan. We expected exactly what he's doing is what we expected, but the shadows are a little tough right now, and I think that's making the fastball a little bit better, and then it's a little harder to see the breaking ball, but we just have to stick with the plan. We have a good plan. We just need to stick with it. Again, you play 9 innings, and there'll be some ebb and flow in this game.
Mark, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Let's say Coach Mark Kingston from South Carolina, and this ball's lined into center field. It will drop right in front of Austin Brimling. And a base hit for Alex Milazzo. As a pitcher, were you able to use the shadows to your advantage and change what you wanted to throw and win?
Threw more fastballs. And the only reason I did it, because I never remembered dealing with it as a hitter, is because I always heard hitters say that it was tougher to react to the fastball when there were shadows out there. Now you got about another 45 seconds, so you better take advantage of it right now.
Big Orb moves fast. Here's Braswell. Third ball misses low. He lined out on the first pitch in the first inning. Second trip through the order for Tyler Pitzer, and the breaking ball's in for a strike. And second time through the order for pitcher of the course of the season, and the opposing batting average jumps from 229 to 324. 1-2. Braswell showed up at South Carolina as a two-way player. He was pitching with great velocity off the mound, and he sends this one to shallow right. Blake Jackson fighting the sun, backtracking and sprawls for it. Man, what a recovery. Right field in Hoover, it's not just a job, it's an adventure.
The wind's swirling a little bit too. You look at the flags in the outfield, and some are blowing out to right, some are blowing across to left, and I think that may have been what got Jackson right here. It's pretty athletic though, because he overran it by a ways and had no choice but to backpedal as quick as he could and lay out to make the play.
Here's Tommy White, 0 for 1 on the ground out to second. He is a .361 career hitter at LSU, and he drives it to center, but Brenling is there. What did Tommy White say yesterday? He said some hitters decide when to swing. I decide when not to swing.
That one was good. The other one was they asked him about hitting the fastball out to right field. Yeah, power. He's like, well, yeah, fastballs hit oppo and breaking balls I hit out to left. Like it was the most. Well, why would you? Yeah, of course. That's what you do. He hunts that first pitch. I think yesterday, 5 at bats, he saw 8 pitches. One of them was a grand slam. It was a little more patient his first at bat, but that time went after the first.
Here's Jared Jones. You know, Charlie Condon deserves all the accolades coming his way. Condon was first team all conference third baseman. Tommy White was second team. And this is not a slight against Condon, but more about Tommy White's potential and what he's already shown in the college game. I could foresee a scenario where, 10 years down the road, Tommy White's in the big leagues and they're like, wait, this guy was second team all conference? Who was first? Oh yeah, that 5-time all-star over there.
The other guy. Yeah, they both have a chance to hit for a long time and get paid to do it.
Tommy White now 8th in Division I history in home runs with 75. Pete Incaviglia holds a record with an even 100. First pitch to Casas is up. Were the Crawfish brought in, or did they pick them up here?
I know they were getting 100 pounds today. Now, whether or not they brought them in or sent them in, I'm not sure. Now, I didn't get out there today, but they were worried that 100 pounds wasn't going to be enough.
What do you think, though? Jay Johnson out to argue did not like that call, and he'll be told by January that it's his call. What'd you think?
50-50 ball on that one. I mean, probably didn't go quite far enough, but it's pretty close. Where were you going with the Crawfish now?
Yeah, I want to know what the proper ratio is. It was in strike 2 and 1 at 95.
I don't know what the
cold beers per pounds of crawfish. What is the? So if the typical plate consumption is 3 pounds per person,
how many beverages are associated with that?
Yeah,
I think you go 1 per pound.
Yeah,
to start. You probably take a little break, let everything settle down. There's probably some movement down there, and figure out where you go next.
Boilermade bubble. 95 inside, full count to Gavin Casas. Transferred in a couple of years ago as senior from Pembroke Pines, Florida. Played 2 seasons for Tim Corbin at Vanderbilt. Remember his brother Tristan, a first rounder of the Red Sox. And Casas draws a leadoff walk after all that. And Austin Brenling with another chance. Dr. Hurd struck out Brenling in the first. Great pitching performances the first 2 games for LSU from Luke Holman and Gage Jump. Hit him. And I was just getting ready to ask, do you view Hurd as like a wild card or a must perform piece?
No, I think it's a wild card. I think are we talking about having a chance to win the whole thing? Then you're going to need him in a significant role, whether it's bullpen or.
Milazzo couldn't squeeze it. 1-0.
And he's usually really good about framing it up. If he does frame that one up, he may get the call, but bounces out of his glove and doesn't get it. And that first pitch strike's pretty important for her.
Especially against Petrie, and now misses away with 95. Petrie likes to work the count. He is 5th in the league in walks, but he's also 4th in the league with 70 strikeouts. 21 home runs, 8th in the SEC. 2 on in front of him. And that one gets all the way to the backstop off of the glove of Milazzo. Casas to third and Brindling to second on the wild pitch.
That one wasn't that bad. I don't know if he got crossed up a little bit. It definitely wasn't a strike, but it's one that Milazzo's generally going to glove. It got on, looked like it got on a little bit quicker than he thought. Cruising through the first 2 with 5 strikeouts. Walks the first and hits the second and advances them both on a wild pitch.
3-1 now. Fastball command was the offseason work for Hurd, and man, it looks good tonight. 3-2. Hey, Johnson gave us a scouting report earlier this season. His curveball is his most reliable pitch and has a higher spin rate than all but 12 major league pitchers. But the fastball command is the difference maker. Here's the payoff to Petrie. And a flare, fair, just inside the line. Casas scores. Brindling will be stopped at third. And it turns into a double for Ethan Petrie that covered about 130 feet.
You might want to check that baseball afterwards, because that is right off the end of the bat. I'm not quite sure how it stayed fair, but Jones playing deep, but just doesn't have quite enough time to get to it. Kind of similar to hitting the first inning. It's not hit hard, it's just hitting the exact right spot. Good location of the breaking ball, but Petrie got enough on it.
You want exit velo?
58.
Nailed. Yes, exactly.
Is that what it was?
57.5. I always round up.
Round up.
Blake Jackson had a flare for a hit his first time up. Jackson waiting for the signs from the dugout. 1-0. Brindling at third, Petrie at second. Tommy White in on the grass. We've said it before, but if you haven't seen LSU much this season, Tommy White's defense may be the most improved from one year to the next that we've seen in a long time. And the major aspect of that is he's healthy. Off-season surgery right after the World Series last year. And didn't play at all in the fall. The bunt has popped up. Milazzo runs out of space.
He's made 2 errors the whole year. He started every single game at third base.
And he's not a passive fielder either.
No, he'll come get it. He's made a lot of plays coming in towards home plate where he's got to throw on a run. It's made him some money in the draft, because now I think you look at him defensively and say, yes, he can stick at third base and play it at the next level.
2-2. Pulled foul. Great grab in the dugout. You think they're loose?
I think they are. There was a celebration starting. Now we're just going to spike it. I like it.
Two pitch. Upstairs. Full count. Cole Messina waiting on deck. Here's the payoff to Jackson from Thatcher Hurd. Just a hair up. And the bases are loaded for Cole Messina. Messina lifts it deep left center. Pearson back. It is gone. Grand slam, Cole Messina. .440-foot grand slam, his 20th home run of the season, his 4th home run in 3 games in Hoover.
Parking the first few rows out in left center field, you thinking maybe we're safe. This went a long ways. 107 off the bat. If you could draw up the ideal home run, Cole Messina just hit it. Counts for 4, and South Carolina's got the lead.
This is a new SEC tournament record, the 4th grand slam that's been hit. We're only at Thursday. Parker Nolan at the plate now. And Nolan sends one high that same direction. Pearson chasing this back and makes a catch on the run. That is the first out of the inning. And it brings Kennedy Jones to the plate. There's something about teams playing with nothing to lose. You play blackjack sometimes?
I've been known to.
Mm-hmm. You bet more aggressively when you're up?
Tom, I wouldn't say there's much of a rhyme or reason to what my amounts are from time to time.
I didn't want to ask you for the particulars, just the trend.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a heater, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not, well, you got to get back on a heater, so you might as well fire.
I understand the establishment on the river in Baton Rouge is now building inland thanks to the contributions you've made over the years.
Been there once or 6 times. Not this year, though. 2 trips to Baton Rouge. Church, home, and school.
Two to Jones.
That's his best. Ackenhausen can go to that changeup. He'll throw it to righties and lefties, but gets a little bit more swing and miss. To the right-handers, 84 miles an hour, bottom dropping out of it. Cole Messina was just hunting the first pitch fastball, and he got it. Next to Ackenhausen's kind of look more like himself.
Here's Dalton Reeves. Flew out to right field his last time up. From Lugoff, South Carolina, population 7,400. Looks like he's got 4 eyes. No wonder he's such a good hitter. Is that Elmo?
I think that's that same one that Harper was. I don't know who it is.
Oh, that's a Philly fanatic.
Yeah, so it's the same one that Harper.
Yeah. 2-2. Here's the 2-2 to Dalton Reeves. I think if you're a hitter and you like to slug, whatever Bryce Harper is doing, probably
follow right along.
Yeah.
But now you got to get the fanatic shoes like Bryce Harper.
It's true. We'll chat with Luke Holman next half inning.
He was pretty good yesterday. 6 hitless is your thing.
Tough to be better. Swing and a miss. South Carolina sends 8 to the plate.
Maybe they let you keep going. Not in this one. 6 hitless yesterday. Why was it so good?
I'd say I was able to mix yesterday. You know, fastball was a little erratic sometimes, but I didn't let any hitters go and stayed with it the whole time.
Okay, so is it a day where you walk out of the bullpen and you go, you know what, it feels pretty good today? Because guys are different with that. Sometimes it translates, sometimes it doesn't. How's it work with you? Did you know you had that type of stuff when it started?
Yeah, I'd say pregame bullpen is really big for me, and if I'm able to spin it in there and feels good off the fingers, then yeah, it's going to be a good day.
Josh Pearson leads things off in the 4th. I was talking with Jay earlier about what was on the line for you guys. Look at this bunt. It's going to hit the chalk and roll foul. And he told me, he said that it came a point in the year where he said, listen, I'm going to be positive. We're going to look at this at the opportunity that's in front of us, because you guys have had some ups and downs as a team. But then he said that this plan was really put into place a few weeks ago in terms of how you guys were going to handle the pitching with you and Gage going on 4 days rest, and you're going to start 2-0, and then you're going to be in this position. Is it as simple as kind of planning that out and then executing it?
It's not simple, but I mean, if you got a good plan, you can make anything work. So a lot of trust in this team, a lot of belief in this team. So.
Pitch is low to Pearson. Okay, I have a totally off-the-wall question. The roster lists you as being from Sinking Springs, Pennsylvania. I can only find a Sinking Spring. So which is it, Springs or Spring?
I think there's no S, I believe. Sinking Spring.
And
there's only one spring.
Is there an actual spring?
I would not know the answer to that one.
Has anyone sunk? Those are 2 important questions.
Pearson with the double down the line, and he's in business, which means we got to keep you around a little bit longer. When were you first exposed to what SEC baseball is, and then kind of this environment? Obviously, you guys get it at home all the time in Baton Rouge.
I'd say freshman year, coming in right away, kind of hits you like a brick wall, and you just got to get used to it and all that stuff.
So what was the biggest adjustment you had to make pitching last year at Alabama to make sure you were SEC ready?
I'd say each year you want to get better and better. You don't want to just stay the same, and you know, every year I'm looking to get better physically, mentally, everything. So I think I took a big step on everything all around.
Hey, one last one. So the boys in the white tent out in left center field had 100 pounds of crawfish today. My assumption is there's not a lot of crawfish eaten in Sinking Spring.
Not at all. No.
Have we joined that party yet?
There we go.
So the gap will get Pearson home.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
Are we a crawfish fan? Are we acclimating to Baton Rouge?
Definitely, yeah. My buddy on the team is from Louisiana, and last year was my first time tasting crawfish, so I get to really deep dive into it this year. So.
Very good. Hey, thanks for the time. Congratulations on the win yesterday.
Good work yesterday.
Thank you.
There's Luke Coleman, and this is Hayden Travinski.
If Jay knew he was talking to us, he wouldn't have let him leave.
That's right.
He would have gone and stood right by him and said, you're not taking the headset off, you're going to stay there, because the last 2 have been barreled up. Pearson started it. Now Travinski follows. Back-to-back doubles here to start the 4th for LSU to get back within 3. Pitch mark, or through the 50 pitch mark, and left with the lead.
Swing and a miss for Stephen Milam from Jake McCoy. Milam singled in the 2nd, was left stranded. And Milam comes up with another hit. Travinski around 3rd. LSU has cut into the lead again.
Every single college baseball team would love to have a Stephen Milam. He's a very good defender at second base. He makes a ton of contact. Out of that body, it's an OPS that is over 900 now. It just screams baseball player. Decisions are right. He's been in there the entire season. The offensive numbers keep coming. He's got 5 home runs. There's a little bit of juice. That time just barrels it up, and he's been on fire here.
Jake Brown at the dish, struck out looking his first time up, and closed the book on Pitzer now. 3 runs, 2 earned. One and one. One and two now.
I like McCoy's stuff. It's fastball that averages 93 miles an hour over the course of the year, can bump up a little bit higher. That last one at 94. It's just control has been the issue. He's walked about 1 per inning in his freshman year.
And this one's launched into right center field. Brindling dead sprint towards the wall. It's gone. 2-run home run for Jake Brown. Jay Johnson wanted to get his freshman some run here, and boy, did that hunch pay off. He has tied the game with just his 3rd home run of the season.
I'm going to tell you something. This is a really good approach because you get in an 0-2 hole, and Jake Brown is absolutely looking breakable. And I don't know if the report says, hey, gets 0-2, you're going to see a breaking ball nonstop. Against lefties this year, McCoy's thrown that slider more than he has the fastball. It's center cut, not exactly where you want to throw it 0-2, but still left on left, put this swing on it in a down count. That's a really good approach.
4 straight hits for LSU, 2 against Pitzer, 2 against McCoy. A good time for your 3rd home run. 2-0 to the 8-hole hitter, Ashton Larson. The last time LSU overcame a 4-run deficit in an SEC tournament game was in 2019 against the same South Carolina program. Tigers trailed by the same 5-1 score that they trailed by entering this inning. They ended up winning that game 8-6. Sliced down the left side, foul. 410-foot shot for Mr. Brown.
Watch him keep that front side in too. Todd Walker was talking about this in between games today, about how facing left-handers that got him back in because he knew he had to keep that front shoulder in. If you don't, you've got no chance against the slider. That's how you draw it up, left on left right there. Stay on it, and just drove it out to right center field, 410 feet away.
A punch out of Larson for the first out. LSU's offense has produced 25 runs in 21 innings here in Hoover. Here's Milazzo, singled up the middle to start the 3rd. And then guess what? After Milazzo, you got to deal with the top of the order. Braswell and then Tommy White. As a pitcher, when did you first become aware of the specifics of a batting order? For example, oh boy, their best hitter is X number of guys away.
I mean, probably high school, but it would have to be somebody that really stood out. For me, it was more right left, because I was actually I was more comfortable facing left-handers just because I threw a lot of changeups. So if I had the choice, I'd rather pitch around a or a right-hander to get to a left-hander. I'm sure there were exceptions. Bond's guy would step up, then you maybe think about it a little bit differently. But so mine was more right-left as opposed to exactly what it was.
3-2. Milazzo chops it foul.
Spoiler swing right there. You think you got him, and looks like he's swinging underwater, but just trying to get a piece of it. More action in that South Carolina bullpen. The right-hander Michael Polk now up and throwing.
Mark Kingston and his pitching coach Matt Williams. 3-2. Swing and a miss for Milazzo. And home plate umpire Avero January working in tandem with Clint Fagan down the first base line. Was that tipped or was it not? And did Messina hold it?
Like Jay Johnson was happy with whatever answer he got there. Messina had to look down, make sure that he caught it. It didn't look like it. I don't think it caught dirt.
So back-to-back Ks for McCoy. Michael Braswell the third is the 7th batter of the inning for LSU. Couple home runs and 30 driven in for Braswell. 2 years ago was a freshman all-conference performer at South Carolina and was a John Olerud Award semifinalist. Braswell has had a tremendous run in the back half of the season, hitting .310 in conference games. 3-0. Tommy White getting a grip on deck. And it's a 4-pitch walk. Bring one of the most dangerous sluggers in college baseball history to the plate. Eighth in history in home runs. He's just the 4th in Division I history to hit 20 home runs in 3 separate seasons. Todd Green, Pete Incaviglia, and George Canale of Virginia Tech were the other two. Green played his college ball at Georgia Southern.
I think Incaviglia's junior hit 48.
Sounds right. In on the hands, won't travel. Bringling coming on. And that. And Cole Messina with a grand slam in the 3rd.
All 4 of them from these 2 teams.
Talmadge LeCroy sends one foul, and that will end up on the berm. Not as much traffic on the berm here for game number 3 of the day.
A little bit more traffic tonight. We bet they keep on showing up.
I feel like we're somewhere in between Sugar Rush and Crash Nap.
Just kind of, it's that midpoint right in the middle. My man catching a bullpen in the back. I like that.
It is just a total free-for-all down there. Swing and a miss for LeCroy.
500. You ever play 500?
Indeed.
I've got the Vandy Boys shirt winning the whole shooting match if it's high enough. He doesn't even have to jump.
Well, it's reliable on a good thrower. There are no rules in that game, by the way.
Strawberry Shake guy still won't let go of it either.
Nor should he. Big league connections at the bottom of the order. Talmadge's uncle Matt Lee Croyd played in the bigs for a long time, and Gavin Costas' brother. First rounder of the Red Sox. 9 home runs, 32 driven in. Day off tomorrow to the winner. What's the value of that in your estimation?
Exhale a little bit, and especially for both these teams because they had to play Tuesday. So you get 3 in a row like a 3-game series, take one off, then come back play Tuesday game, even though it's Saturday. Feels more like the regular season.
Yeah. Top 4 seeds got a bye, then they all lost. First time since 2010. Top 4 seeds lost on the same day. Reached for it, flicked it in the shallow right. Milam was playing out there, and he cedes to Larson. Your big brother's Kentucky team, is it? It's not just small ball and moving around and putting pressure on people. They can absolutely slug it. Ryan Waldschmidt is a banger.
He is. I mean, he had 2 more today. What I love about their offense is there's no book on it. They can slug, they can really run. They ran a first and third play today that you just don't see enough in baseball anymore. They force you to defend in a different way than most offenses do. They don't just sit and wait for the home run. Just about everybody runs. Yeah, it's the more that you watch Kentucky, the more impressed that you are. It's not a comfortable offense to get ready for.
1-1. Kentucky's played in 2 super regionals. Both of them have been on the road. Louisville a handful of years ago, and then at LSU last year.
They're not going on the road this year.
No.
Cats are a lock to be a top 8 national seed. Just kind of wait and see who else makes their way to Lexington. But I know they're not done here yet, but the hay's in the barn as far as the top 8.
Kentucky went to LSU last year, lost the first game of the Super by 2 touchdowns, 14-0. And then lost game 2 to the eventual national champions. Milazzo with a word for Ackenhousing as he returns the ball. Two-two pitch. Behind the plate, Milazzo tosses the mask and hauls it in. Here's Jared Jones. He has struck out twice. Our friend Teddy Cahill from Baseball America already has Oregon State out and Mississippi State in as a host. But for clarification purposes, you correct me if I'm wrong, the teams that you mentioned that have lost in their conference tournaments that would allow bid thieves, East Carolina and Indiana State, have not been eliminated.
But correct. Have just lost a game apiece.
.23 home runs for Jones. High, deep to right. Make it 24. And LSU has its second lead of the game. It's now 6-5 Tigers.
He can compress a baseball. Bear Jones, man, when he gets it, it goes. This is 107 off the bat the other way. And it was on a breaking ball. Just let it come right back in. Yeah, I think probably got a pretty good idea that one's going to carry out. It's just whether or not it goes over the bullpen or not, which doesn't matter because if it goes in the bullpen, it counts for the exact same thing. Jones's 24th of the year gives LSU the lead back.
And here's Josh Pearson. Outside to Pearson. By the way, of those bid thieves, would those threaten any of the SEC teams?
I don't think so right now. I think there's 11 that are safe right now. Now, if it gets crazy and there's 6, 7, 8, and that last 4 in just kind of keeps peel one off. But if you're an SEC team, Northeastern got knocked out of their conference tournament. That theoretically benefits you. They were on that last 4 in line. James Madison got knocked out of their conference tournament. That's another one that benefits you. They were on the last 4 in line.
Clint Fagan was chatting with the South Carolina dugout. Are they arguing that Mark Wanaka is not in the coach's box? I think we can all see he's not in the coach's box. That is never enforced.
Nobody's ever in the coach's box. Usually a waste of paint.
2-0. There was a time back in the 80s where the coach's box at Old Yankee Stadium were dirt and they were outlined by timber. Like there was some sort of wood that was inlaid that was painted white.
Like a horseshoe pit, except it was for the base coaches.
We can't kick that away. It's wood.
That's not a hazard to a first baseman or a third baseman running over trying to make a play. And he hits a railroad tie and goes down.
Two to Pearson. Full count. You see a possible bid thief out of the Big Ten. Illinois bounced back to win earlier today after they suffered a loss yesterday. They're the regular season champs.
Illinois and Nebraska are out of the Big Ten, but both of them have already lost a game in that Big Ten tournament, which is actually being played at Charles Schwab in Omaha. But yeah, one potentially from there. You start to pay attention which those leagues are, and if you are a bubble team, you want Illinois or Nebraska to fight their way back through and win that.
One down here. Planting the avocado tree may be a mistake. There's a very delicate balance of watering because their root system doesn't have as many offshoots on it.
Okay.
So it's very dangerous. You know, if you're trying to grow that avocado tree, just so you know, they need a lot of water.
Okay.
You can't overwater because it can drown and it can also introduce diseases to the tree. And that is a tree. It's not a bush. It's not a shrub. It's not a vine.
It's been established.
It's new news.
Yeah, it doesn't work down here though. I did a little research today.
Oh, you did?
We got to be west, south. Avocados from Mexico. You've heard the little song.
Oh yeah, they got a jingle.
Yeah, they do. Oh, hold on. Hey, look, we got gifts.
How about Santa Barbara County? That'd be a good place for an avocado tree.
Kenny brought us avocados, and little does he know there's a tree on its way to his house right now. So
line out to center field for
Nice.
Hayden Travinsky.
Look at that.
You,
See?
Could you hold it up for the camera so the good people?
This is it. Avocados from Mexico.
There's a camera.
Oh,
You
sorry.
have to-
Avocados from Mexico. It says right
Yeah,
there.
see what I'm working with, people?
Yep.
Yep. That's guacamole in just a few.
You traveled with your knife again? If you did, we can just do it up right here in a minute.
Yeah.
Tableside guac. That's
Okay.
kind of that's my specialty.
What's the label say?
Avocados from Mexico. It says it right there. It's a catchy little tune too.
It's perfect firmness. I think this is going to be just right. Strike called. I want you to do this on camera. We got a little experiment here.
Okay. That's a
compare the firmness of the baseball to the firmness of the avocado.
Well, because this one's not quite ready.
That avocado's not
No.
ready?
Baseball's good. It's not very
Wait,
rubbed up.
now you're an expert?
Yeah. Just because I don't know how you grow them doesn't mean I don't know how to eat them. Those are two different things. I know how to buy them and eat them.
Milam has a couple of hits. RBI last time up and a curveball in for a strike, 1-2. Milam came in as a freshman from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and leading up to the season, he said, you know, it was really a big struggle in the fall. I had to make tweaks and adjust, but became more comfortable every day. And what a great lesson to learn as a young hitter when you go up a level. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but if you don't make adjustments, it's not going to get any easier.
I'd say he's made a few. 310 coming into the game in his freshman campaign. He's got 2 more hits today. Started 52, now 53 of LSU's 59 games this year.
And he lines it into right field. Milam's got a 3-for-3 game going. We're talking about hitting home runs into avocado fields in high school. Stephen Milam used to take batting practice in the backyard, which was a pecan orchard at his grandparents' house. Hit it over where the pecan trees are. Did you know pecans grew in trees?
Did. This is going to start a fun game.
Jake Brown, 2-run home run to his name. 410-foot shot last time up. That's what it looked like.
That's how you stay in on time to a left-on-left breaking ball right there. 0-2, and it looked like that's what he was looking for the entire time. You can look for it, that's one thing, but he didn't miss it after that.
Brown was a 16th round pick in last year's draft by the Rangers. He was a Gatorade Louisiana Player of the Year in high school.
Hey,
10-2 as a starting pitcher.
Brown's 2-strike approach. Those feet are going to get all the way spread out. That front foot really doesn't move.
Milam steps back to the bag. He's got 7 steals and 9 tries this year. There he goes. Pitch is lifted. Shallow center. Brindley coming on hard, charging, and he can't get there. Nobody does. Milam ends up at third. It's a double for Jake Brown.
Ball stayed in the air for a long time. Look where everybody starts. You can't even see Kennedy Jones. He's out of the frame before it starts. Brindley, only guy that has a chance, but he kind of pulled up. I don't know if he gets there anyway. But in the end, he was the only one that had a chance. Milam's off and running with 2 outs. He goes first to third. Jake Brown's got a home run. Now a double that didn't look like it off the bat, but it looked like it when it got done.
So Milam at third, Brown at second. Ashton Larson at the plate looking for his first hit today. LSU leads 6-5. Both teams have had big innings. Carolina with a 5-run third, LSU with a 4-run fourth. First pitch strike. Nobody has been better against SEC opponents on this LSU team than Larson. 337 in conference games. Just off the plate, maybe a hair low, 1-1.
As a freshman. And it took him a while to get in the starting lineup, too. He wasn't there early, but once he got there, and it was kind of as they got into SEC play, he hadn't gone anymore.
Spends his off-season training back home in the Kansas City area with former LSU All-American Alex Lang, who's in his 4th season with Detroit. I think they're Googling pecan trees. Here's the 1-2. Pulled to the right side. Parker Nolan's got it. And that will close the 5th.
Somewhere in the middle of the 1st round. From a just pure hit tool standpoint, there aren't too many better than that guy.
Ethan Petrie swings at the 1st. How would you rate Tommy White's baseball swag? 1 to 10.
It's very gold. Obviously, he likes gold. He just told us that.
Yeah.
It's advanced. I think it's very advanced. I mean, you got to have the personality to match it, right? Like if you rolled in looking like that, people wouldn't talk to you. But for Tommy White, it's very different. They would not talk to you. No, they would actually walk the other way. For him, it's inviting. Other people want to talk to him when he's wearing it.
I'm going to try not to be offended by that comment, but I think that if you come in with that swag, well, it's a chicken or the egg thing. You better have 24 home runs in your pocket.
You better be able to play.
That's right.
Combine it with the pink arm sleeve. He needs one of those the Philly Fanatic headbands too. It'd be a good connector.
Both of these guys can hit. Tommy White at 3rd and Ethan Petrie at the plate, but I think you're talking about 2 totally different personalities. Full count. Petrie just a little bit more laid back. You know, he surprised a lot of people in the college baseball world with the start he got off to last year and the season he put together. And a check swing didn't go. Ball 4. In fact, going into the last year as a freshman coming off of his fall, Kingston said it was really nothing spectacular. Thought maybe he'd be a part-time starter, would get him some ABs.
He hit 1 home run in the fall.
That's right. Tommy White in on the grass. Ackenhausen with a throw to 1st. Petrie 4 of 6 on the bases.
Blake Jackson, leadoff hitter for Charlotte last year. Went to a regional final at Clemson. This year hitting right in the middle of the South Carolina lineup.
And he drops his bunt down to the right side. Jones a little late to get there, and it's a bunt single for Blake Jackson.
That's knowing the game right there. You got a left-handed pitcher in Ackenhausen who didn't move great, but at the same time, everything is moving over towards 3rd base. So if you take it with you, like the left-hander does right here, now Jared Jones at 1st has to make a decision because Ackenhausen isn't going to get there. Right-hander, maybe he can get to it and Jones can stay home. Lefty, he has to vacate. Plenty of time for Jackson to beat it out. He's been on base all 3 times.
LSU playing with the lead, and Jay Johnson sticking with the plan with the bullpen. Ackenhausen will exit. It's up to the hard-throwing Christian Little now.
Oh, yeah. I think the SEC voted yesterday.
Christian Little is on the mound. Vote for this guy as a comeback player of the year. Senior from St. Louis, started his college career at Vanderbilt. It was a mid-season adjustment to get Little to simply throw more strikes, and sometimes it's what you're throwing as much as how you're throwing. 2-0 with a 5.67 ERA. Those numbers aren't representative of how he's turned things around.
He's still got big time velocity. I mean, the fastball can still run up 95, 96. He's throwing a lot more cutters. And the cutter's been really important. It's a cool story because for Little, he was a 17-year-old freshman at Vanderbilt that was pitching in the College World Series. And it just didn't go the way that I think he thought and everybody else thought. It's his second year at LSU. This year he's really come back into his own. He's become a huge part of this LSU bullpen.
Drafted by the Mets last year in the 19th round, turned him down to return to school, and he's developed into a different pitcher. Had a 7.79 ERA last year, facing Cole Messina, who hit a grand slam last time up. What do you got on Messina's setup?
Confident to start. There's a couple moving parts, but his hand's getting the right slot right there. There's been a whole lot of weird looks before, just in the history of baseball, before the pitch is coming in. But as long as you get yourself in a spot to hit, and I think he does a pretty good job of that, then it works different ways. Good take.
Against Arkansas, Messina had a third-inning single, then a fifth-inning two-run home run, then top of the ninth, homered on the first pitch he saw. Also hit a solo home run against Bama this week. And he takes ball 4 in the dirt. Carolina's loaded the bases here in the fifth. And it brings Parker Nolan to the plate. Nolan is a fifth-year senior out of Farragut outside of Knoxville. One of 4 SEC players that played at Farragut. Ryan Hagnow at Kentucky, Jet Johnson at A&M, and Tennessee catcher Cal Stark. All played on the same high school team. How do you ever lose?
It's not a bad club.
This is a players only meeting out on the mound. Carolina has loaded them with a leadoff walk to Ethan Petrie, and a single by Blake Jackson, and a walk to Cole Messina. Opportunity for South Carolina here. They scored 5 in the third. Both of those coming on Messina's grand slam. Fastball low, 1-0.
And that's that high end velocity that's still there. He throws so many cutters that you don't realize how much arm strength is still there. That was 97. Somebody's going to give Little a chance, and he's getting a pro ball, and they'll probably turn him back into a starter.
Popped it up into center field. Looking to tag will be Petrie. Catch made by Jake Brown. Here comes Petrie. The throw goes to third, and Carolina has tied it on a sac fly from Parker Nolan.
Good job by the vet right there. No, you get it deep enough. It's also a good job by the freshman out in center field. Not to get too worked up trying to throw that ball home. Just make that throw to third base. Keep everybody else where they are. Double play still gets you out of the inning.
Here's Kennedy Jones. And the four-seamer in for a strike. The cutter usage jumped by 18%, and the four-seam fastball usage dropped by about 25% once the calendar turned to April, and they got with him, and that one gets off of Milazzo's mitt, allows Jackson to head to third, and Messina to replace him at second.
This is another one, and you don't see it a lot from Milazzo, but that's another one that kind of got to have. I mean, he's running it up there, so there's not a lot of time to react. I get it, but it's in a spot that usually isn't going to get past him.
10th pitch of the game from Little. 1-1 to Jones. Over through that bat. Have you seen the cutter yet from Christian Little?
Yeah, right when he came in.
Okay.
91.
Is that 1 of 10? It's been the cutter?
He hasn't thrown many yet. But against righties this year, he's thrown his cutter about the exact same percentage as he has his fastball.
Pulled foul of third.
That was it there, and he's maybe lucky he got that one back. That's not where you want to throw that one. Kennedy Jones put a good move on it, just fouled it straight back, but he's looking for that cutter to start on the outer half and just keep going away from the right-handed hitter. Like that.
Lost the bat. 2 down.
Sometimes mentally you call a pitch something and it reacts a little bit different. I mean, this has some depth to it too. When he gets through it and it's right, it looks like a tight little slider.
Yeah.
Cutters a lot of times won't have a lot of depth. I don't care what you call it, and sometimes it just gets in a guy's head. You call it something, it may not move the way you normally think it does for that very pitch, but ultimately it's really successful. That one right there, that one's going to be successful.
Dalton Reeves is 0 for 2, a fly out and a strikeout. Changeup missed upstairs, 1-0. Jackson at third, Messina at second. Reeves transferred in from Presbyterian, where he played for the Blue Hose. And Tuesday against Alabama, the grand slam. First of the season for the team, and now they got another. Little squibber up the line and just foul. Man, that was very nearly hit the corner of the bag.
You're the guy that was sitting close to the microphone just a minute ago. Tommy White's happy this ball didn't hit the bag because that had so much spin on it. It was going to go all over the place. There was some helpful advice by presumably a nice man that was sitting next to the microphone that yelled to the home plate umpire, Chavero January, "Don't be fooled by his high pants." Not sure exactly what that would fool you with, but we all like constructive criticism.
But he needs something to look out for.
It's 97 at the hem of the high pants right there.
Little ignores the base runner, the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Slider for strike.
The city benefits from it moving forward.
Here's Alex Milazzo. Up and in. Michael Polk on the mound. They've long played a game every year at Rickwood Field. Usually Southern League game. The Barons would go over there once a season, make a big deal out of it. Really cool. It was built in 1910 and opened in August of 1910. Served as a home park not just for the Barons but also the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Action in the bullpen. Got a couple getting loose. poked foul. The Cardinals and Giants playing at Rickwood in July, I believe. Like I said, June.
Right on it.
And a 1 in 12 chance. I knew they weren't playing in January. Heads up. It's good sharing. Sharing is caring. Mom tax. Okay, who doesn't have one? I would venture to guess that 70% of my French fry consumption comes on the dad tax driving home.
It's a great move because you know you're always going to get something. It's usually the ones at the bottom that have the most salt on them.
Yeah.
Kind of let the kids take that they think they're getting a good deal, but they're not.
Pay off to Milazzo. Pulled to third. That is a foul ball.
Can we sneak one under there?
Oh, yeah. Third game of the day. We got one more still to come. State and Vanderbilt as Milazzo fouls one off. June 20th is the date of the Giants and Cardinals game downtown.
Had one in Omaha a few years ago. Week of the College World Series at Charles Schwab. The Royals and the Tigers have been in a Little League Classic a few times in Williamsport.
This ball is roped to left field. It is past the reach of Kennedy Jones. And Milazzo, after fouling off 4 two-strike pitches, doubles to start the 6th.
That was a heck of an at-bat. Because he fouled off a few tough ones.
Porter and Braswell. Saw some time at both second and short playing for Mark Kingston over the last couple of years, in addition to the appearances on the mound as a freshman. One and 0. Milazzo at second, and the breaking ball is fouled off. I know it's the new reality, but it's kind of like a throwback to the way the baseball rules used to be with the open transfer policy. Now it's every sport. Two and one. Is it weird to you that you a guy like Michael Braswell facing same team you played for the year prior?
Yeah, the next year is the one that is a little strange. I wish that there was just one freebie.
To short. Bobbled. LeCroy recovers and in time. Would you have the same rule for coaches? You can only change the job once?
No, but I tell you where I would change is if the coach leaves, the one freebie rule doesn't apply. So coach leaves, you want to go into the portal regardless of whether you transfer it in, that's fine.
Here's Tommy White. He transferred from NC State to LSU. Mark Kingston was coach at Tulane. They had the name of Micah Owings. He was a superstar two-way guy. Decided one off season, I'm going to flip schools, and it made a great impact. I think he went Tulane to Georgia Tech.
Yep.
Oh, 1. So if you're in the middle of negotiating with these big cases that are currently being discussed by the higher ups, would you try to collectively bargain that in? Or would you say, listen, open transfer the rest of the way is the new
I
reality?
don't know if they're worried about that part.
That one kicks off the chest protector, and an extra 90 feet for Milazzo on the wild pitch.
My understanding, at least, of what's been agreed to, and now it's been agreed to, is that slider kicks away. It's just a financial piece. I don't think it touches transfer rules.
Cena lost his earpiece. 2 balls and a strike. Our buddy Pete Thamel just broke a story tonight discussing the fact that NCAA and the power conferences have agreed to allow schools to pay players 2 and 2. And all Division I athletes dating back to 2016 eligible to receive a share of up to roughly $20 million per year after $2.7 billion in damages was negotiated.
$20 million per year per school.
Correct. Judge still has to approve it, according to Pete's report. Part of a 13-page document. That doesn't seem like a very long document in that sense.
Making progress. Efficiency. That's a crazy idea.
Infield is in with 1 out. Tommy White at the plate. Tie game. Here's the pitch. Little dribbler to third.
Great read. Great read.
And LSU takes the lead again on an RBI ground from Tommy White, scoring Milazzo.
Now, in this case, Milazzo takes third base and the ball gets away, and it totally changes. Infield's got to come in, and for Tommy White, it's fortunate he didn't hit the barrel. Swing and bunt right there. Costas has to go away to get it. Only chance he has to throw White out at first base, but with that infield drawn in, if you're going to do that, if you're Milazzo, you got to go right away. And it was a great read that ball wasn't hit hard. Even with the drawn in infield, he scores easily.
Here's Jared Jones, homered his last time up. Opposite field shot for his 24th of the year. Sophomore out of Walton High School in Marietta, Georgia, 2-0. Well, freshman team last year, backing up Trey Morgan at first base and seeing some time as a DH. Grounded to short. LeCroy bobbles, recovers, fires, just in time. And that will. Here's Talmadge LeCroy. 1-0. Mentioned his uncle Matthew played in the bigs for a long time. You never know who you run into at the ballpark. Former Brave and Padre Ryan Klesko in the building tonight.
It was one of my favorite swings in the game when he was playing. Wasn't a whole lot of choke up and try to go the other way.
Oh, there was not. He started his professional career in Sumter, South Carolina in the Sally League. And nothing against the fine folks of Sumter, but Klesko is a California kid, and he was absolutely miserable. He said it's the hottest he's ever been. So he said, how long do I have to stay here? They said, until you hit. He said, so I slept with my bat every night. I hit the snot out of the ball, and I got out of Sumter. This is away, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Up the middle and a base hit. Lecroy's got a knock. Klesko tells a story about being a 19-year-old playing in the Carolina League at Durham. His manager was one Brian Snitker at the time, and they had a curfew. And at the team hotel, Ryan was in the hot tub with a couple of friends when he saw the coaching staff arrive back at the hotel. So he told the 2 people he was with, I'm going to go underwater, tap me when they're gone. He said, listen, I grew up on the West Coast. I was a surfer. I spent a lot of time free-diving. I was good.
Did it work?
A little while later, he felt a tap, and he came up, and there was Brian Snitker standing above, staring down, and also looking at his watch. And he said, Klesko, 2.5 minutes. Pretty good. Slice through the left side for Gavin Casas, and there's 2 aboard with nobody out.
It turned into a no meal money road trip.
Probably
right there.
so. Two 2.5 minutes. That is some lung capacity.
The story might have got better over the years.
Oh, probably. First 2 wide to start the 6th. Bring Austin Bringling to the plate. I'm just wondering where they were staying in A-ball, where they had hot tubs at the hotel.
That was big time then.
Must have been a holodome. On attempt. Got him twice in the batter's box. Nothing in 1. Justin Lohr getting loose. Brenling's going to take an offensive timeout. Step back over towards the dugout as Nate Yeskie talks about things. Where South Carolina head coach Monty Lee with some words for Brenling. See what they come up with here. Squares early. Keeps it on and gets it back to the right side. Jones to third.
Good play. Big man can move a little bit. This is such an easier play for a left-handed first baseman because you don't have to do that. Glove it, spin, try to catch up Tommy White or catch Tommy White right after the spin. That's pretty athletic by White over at third base. That's outstanding. In an ideal world, you want that ball to go to third base. You want White to vacate, have to come get it because then that play can't be made. But bunted just hard enough, and it took a great defensive play by Jones to get the lead runner.
And a first pitch strike to Ethan Petrie. Jones's nickname is Bear. Remember those old circus bears that they would put a tutu and a hat on that would spin around? Yeah, that's probably illegal these days, but it kind of looked like a dancing bear making that.
Dancing, yeah.
Slide ball foul. How about Tommy White's role on this play?
It's not really a comfortable position over there, too. Just kept that right foot on the corner of the bag. Trying to make sure you don't get taken out at the same time.
0-2 to Petrie. Outside, 1-2. By the way, peek ahead to our second game tonight. Hot off the presses. Mississippi State indeed has Connor Hyzak in the starting lineup. Whew. Yeah. Never know. He has moved up in the order, hitting third. 1-2. Up the middle, right to the ship. Milam races back to the bag for the try. And just a hair late. What an effort by Stephen Milam.
He's fun to watch play, man. The instincts are so good. I mean, line drive, LSU had it defended perfectly. That's the chief. And if you talk to Jay Johnson, Mark Wanaka's as good as anybody. A position in defense, and he had Milam in the right spot. Just about led to a double play. We got a fun pitching matchup tonight now.
Oh, we do. I just realized.
Angelo Sainja, the ambidextrous pitcher who's really been primarily right-handed, running up 96, 97 from the right side, and a sophomore J.D. Thompson, who's been really good as of late for Vanderbilt.
So good that he shut out Tennessee in the final game of that series, handing the Volunteers their lone shutout of the season. First pitch strike at 96 to Blake Jackson. Jackson is 2 for 2. Bloop single and an infield single. That one hit Milazzo. I think it was tipped.
Thumburger right there. It's just enough of it.
Oh.
Doesn't catch the glove square. Knocks it right off his hand. Oh, it was off the outside part. Usually you see that off the inside part of the glove and the thumb. That was off the outside part. I think it just spun his hand so fast he was grabbing at his index finger.
Oh, 2 with 2 aboard. The pitch from Little. Hit him. And South Carolina keeps it rolling here in the 6th inning with the bases loaded.
That's in 2.5 games, sports fans. 4 home runs. He's driven in 12.
First pitch. Got 97. South Carolina hadn't hit a grand slam all season. They've come to Hoover and hit a couple of them, and that is in line with the way the ball is moving out of the ballpark this tournament. 1 off the tournament record for home runs with 6 games to go after this one. I think we'll get there. Breaking ball up, 1-1. Bases loaded for South Carolina. Gavin Casas at third after his single. Austin Brimling reached on a fielder's choice, and with 2 strikes, Blake Jackson was hit by a pitch. Lays off the cutter.
Real good take, because that's exactly where Little wanted to throw it. Now he works it back into a plus count.
Two one.
Right back to it.
Two and 2 to the hottest hitter in the tournament. Little delivers. Swing and a line drive into right center field. Casas has scored. Brindling coming home. It didn't leave the yard, but good enough to bring 2 more in, and Messina has driven in 6. South Carolina back in front.
1-2 minute. Got him with a cutter before, swung right through it, but Messina makes the adjustment right here. Location isn't bad. That's just a good move to it. Nose right on it. Front side goes to it. Drives it to right center field. 6 RBIs on the day. That one scores 2 and gives South Carolina the lead back.
Back and forth we go. Messina in the tournament, 8 of 11 with 4 home runs and 14 driven in. These are Chad Spanberger type numbers. Strike to Parker Nolan. He has already broken the record for RBI in a single tournament with his 14th. Ole Miss's Mark Wright drove in 13 in 2006. Here's the 0-2. Runner on the move, and he's going to pick up a stolen base. I mean, why not?
They're going to give it to you. You might as well take it.
Jones was holding him on the pitch prior. Grounded to the right side, past Milam, it gets through. Jackson has scored. Messina comes home head first as the throw kicks off the backside of the mound. And allowing Messina to take second.
Lead.
And the pitch is fouled off by Kennedy Jones. LSU has won 30 straight games in this tournament and scoring at least 6 runs. The last loss when scoring 6 was 2002 against South Carolina. By the way, Jeremy Mills backs up my Spanberger comp with this nugget that just popped in the chat. 6 ribbies for Messina, second most in SEC tournament history. Chad Spanberger, the aforementioned slugger for Arkansas, drove in 7 against Auburn in 2017.
Today he hit 3 home runs. He hit one to left, he hit one to center, and he hit one to right in the pine trees.
Wait, how did you know those were pine trees?
I've done my research. I'm never going to miss a tree question. Plus, I've got an app.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
And that's on your list of conifers?
Yep.
1 and 2. Pitch to Jones. Upstairs. Carolina has had a 5-run inning and a 4-run inning. LSU has had a 4-run inning. Don't be fooled by the high pants. The 2-2. Runner on the move and through the left side. On the way to third is Nolan. 3 straight singles for South Carolina.
Tell you what, Little had the good stuff going, and now the South Carolina offense is strung together an inning. That's 5 hits in the inning for the Gamecocks. Jay Johnson checks the chart. The left-hander Lohr is absolutely ready in that LSU bull.
Reeves. .7 lead for South Carolina. First time since 2002 that the Gamecocks have scored double-digit runs in multiple games in a single SEC tournament. Two and one. Reeves is the 9th batter of the inning for South Carolina. Runner goes, pitches a strike, throw to second, got him a rundown, now coming home from third, and that throw is perfect. Braswell gets it done as they tried the double steal, and Parker Nolan is out at home. LSU, they'll fired up after. And how does that play into the mustache?
Well, Don Mattingly was on the screen. So I thought that talking about Don Mattingly.
No, but I wonder if like he hit those in the 1 year he had to go tee instead of the mustache or vice versa. You know, change the luck around at some point.
We'll have to do a little research. I won't, but
Somebody.
others could.
2-0 to Josh Pearson. Another big inning for South Carolina, a 4-run sixth. It'll be Pearson, Travinsky, and then Milam.
Show him one shot.
And a swing and a miss, 2-2. When Will Tippett entered the game as a pinch runner, that set off a domino effect defensively for the South Carolina team. Tippett stays in the game at short. Talmadge Lecrow moves from short to third. Casas goes from third to first. Petrie goes from first to right. Jackson from right to left.
We were warned about this. To not do our book in pen in case this happened, and we both did our book in pen.
Thanks, Mark.
But thank you. It's kind of you.
Two to Pearson outside. Travinsky on deck. He has driven in a run tonight. And a leadoff walk. Third time that Josh Pearson has reached.
Looks like the Cops have Parker Marlatt in the bullpen.
I always get a kick out of the walkie-talkies. It's like the pitching coach is calling in ordnance or something. You know, in the foxhole, 3 clicks to the left.
I'm sure there's some interesting back and forth on that.
Let's go.
Parker Marlatt getting loose. Big cut for Travinsky. 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
That McCreary fastball's got a little giddy up. It just stays at the top of the zone. It's got good arm side run in towards the righty.
Fly ball down the right field line and onto the hill. Thank you to Patrick Netherton. He screen grabbed Mattingly's 6th grand slam of that season, and that is just a straight mustache.
Okay. Now it all makes sense.
Swing and a miss for Travinsky. First strikeout for Connor McCreary, and there's one down. And here's Stephen Milam. If there's anybody who was born to grow a mustache, you would think it would have been Milam. Often told story, but fits here. When he was born, his parents labeled him a hairy little monster. He got his first haircut at 3 days old. 0-2.
He's mixing one in. Doing his part. It doesn't have the Travinsky depth quite yet. He's also just a freshman. Give him a little time, Tom.
95 back-to-back Ks for McCreary following that leadoff walk.
That fastball explodes, man. And it is hard to lay off. Milam took one just a minute ago that started on the inside part of the plate. He thought was a ball, and that arm side run ticket took it right back over for a strike. This one top of the zone and stayed right there.
So here's Jake Brown. Two-run home run and a double in his first start of this tournament. McCreary's got a little confidence in that fastball now.
I don't blame him. The outcome's been pretty good.
One and two. Brown's season high in hits is 3. Did that against VMI back on February 18th. Can match that tonight with a knock here. Bounces it to second. They only need one. And that will bring it in. Dalton Reeves was at the plate when it caught stealing into the 6th. Nothing in one. Reeves 0 for 3, fly out, a couple of strikeouts, and just missed. Two and two. Lower on the mound for LSU, and this ball gets ripped to right field. Reeves with a leadoff single in his 7th after Lohr thought he had him struck out.
The 2-strike breaking ball didn't miss by much. Works it back to an even count. Fastball that was running back in on the hands. That was a great shot of it. Two-seamer was coming back into the lefty, but Dalton Reeves got enough of it to get his first hit of the night.
Ten runs on 11 hits for Carolina. Here's Talmadge LeCroy, 1 for 3.
South Carolina's made one ground ball out tonight, and it was on a bunt. Aside from that, everything else has been flyouts or strikeouts.
That's peculiar.
Nailed it.
Spent all day practicing. It's off the plate, fair territory. Force it second and on to first. What a play by Alex Milazzo.
Oh, there's been a few that got by him tonight that usually don't, but man, his understanding of the game behind the plate, the way he controls the pitching staff, it gains you outs and it gains you wins. Watch how quick he comes out of his crouch. Because you grab it right there, because momentum's taking you back into the field of play, there's a lot better chance you're going to get that call. I have no idea whether this was fair, and I don't know that anybody does, because it's just elevated above home plate. But Milazzo gave them a chance right there. LeCroy didn't run, just kind of stayed and waited. So you get the lead runner first, ends up being an easy double play.
Technically, as long as it's above the plate, it's in fair territory. But it certainly looked like if you were to let that come down or even bounce, it would have just been a foul ball.
Yep.
Gavin Casas 101. We have had 2 1-2-3 innings tonight. Jared Jones with the toss to Lohr covering. And here's Ashton Larson. You guys have fun with it tomorrow. Dave Neal and I will be at our kids' high school graduation, North Atlanta High School. My daughter Elizabeth, his son Sam. Be a big day.
You need me to keep you up tonight on the drive home?
May call.
If so, pick somebody else.
I'll send out this invite. Anybody who has my number, once we get 20 minutes after the last game tonight, feel free to hit me up.
You know what would make, just say your number right now.
We'll give the digits, but I won't give them in order.
I mean, you'd get plenty of people that want to help keep you up on your drive.
1-2. And the winner of this game gets a day off tomorrow. Slide right into one of those semifinal slots. And with a day off and a holiday weekend, your team wins tonight. Even more time to make the trip over to Hoover for the weekend.
Come on over. Weather looks good.
Line drive into left field. Jackson catches up to it. One out. Already got one taker on the phone call.
Okay. That'll get you a good 15, 20 minutes.
Here's Alex Milazzo. He is 2 for 3.
Is it someone that you actually want to talk to? It's nice that they want to talk to you, but
to third, hot shot between the knees. LeCroy and a little bit low. Seventh there of the season, charged Talmadge LeCroy.
Yeah, LeCroy started his game over at third base and just a little bit too much time. Got flat-footed, then starts that movement to first. Low throw. Casas can't dig it out. Milazzo's on there for the third time tonight. LSU turns the lineup over.
Braswell is 0 for 3. I've also got a couple of texts from people saying I'll be asleep. Now, how was that helpful?
Just you don't call them.
Oh.
Just cross them off the list. Cross him off them.
Parker Marlett. Or no, Chris Beach is getting for the game.
Braswell's got a homer in this tournament. That was his second of the year. More action in that South Carolina bullpen. Chris Veach, who was about unhittable the other night when he came out of the pen, getting ready to go. And McCreary has been really good in the middle of this game for South Carolina. To first hold it where it was, now hold a lead.
Braswell reached via walk in the fourth. The count now 3-1. Missed with the fastball. Tommy White on deck. Full count. Well, this would ease the burden against Tommy White if he can get Braswell out, but he walks him. And McCreary is added to his concern.
The fastball's dipped a little bit from McCreary. Coming into this over the course of the season, 17 appearances, 19 2/3. So usually not called on to go beyond 6 outs, but it has been here. He's now gone 2 1/3.
Tommy White looking for his first hit of the game. They have action in the bullpen, but will stick with McCreary. One of the most prolific home run hitters in college baseball at the plate. 0-1. Fly ball right field. Petrie has plenty of space. Tagging is Milazzo, and he'll hustle his way to third.
I thought for a minute when it came off the bat, you're just so used to it with Tommy White. Break them all out away from him, but that one not quite enough. McCreary, who's gotten so many outs with that fastball, that time got it with a slider. Fastball's down a few ticks. That LSU dugout thought that would make carry out too, but Petrie was there for the second out.
And now Jared Jones. He went Apotaco to start the 5th. Oh, buzz the tower. 1-0. .46 pitches in from McCreary. They'd love for him to finish the 8th. Got the lefty Pearson on deck. Tied him up. Didn't go, says Clint Fagan.
And he's right. If you're Jones right here, you got to think he's hunting heater. Didn't get it.
Nope. McCreary's got a battle, try to get back into the bat. Assume it's his last of the night. 3-0. Jones taking all the way. That's ball 4. And the bases are loaded in the 8th inning for Josh Pearson. Here comes Mark Kingston. Or there goes Mark Kingston. Walking the wrong way.
A little surprised by this one. Here comes Matt Williams.
That was a heck of a deke by Mark Kingston.
He heads down the other way. Mark Williams heads. It's about 36% to both righties and lefties.
The bases loaded with Alex Milazzo at third. He'd reached on an error. Michael Braswell was walked. He's at second, and Jared Jones loads him up. And the first pitch misses upstairs.
Fastball's going to be 91, 92. Changeup's going to be 74, 75. So the velocity difference about 16 miles an hour between the two of them.
And it's grounded right through the hole, and Casas over at first. 1-run home. Here comes Braswell. The throw goes all the way to third, and a shot right through the wickets allows LSU to plate a pair. 9th error of the season charged to Gavin Casas.
Kind of got the outcome they wanted to. And for Casas, this is one you can almost try to block. But instead comes up on it, goes right through the 5-hole into right field. 2 outs, LSU scoring the entire way. Braswell comes around to score from second base, makes it A one-run game. Against the left-hander, you like that matchup. Ball was hit fairly well. I think Casas maybe thought it was hit a little bit harder than it was, but at any rate, through his legs, and that changes this one.
And here's Travinski. Aiden Travinski drove in a run with a 4th inning double. He's 1 for 4 tonight. The 1-0. It was interesting when Chris Veach talked to the media after his last appearance. He said he really felt like the hitters were all over his changeup. So that's when he would turn to a slide step and try to sneak the fastball by some guys.
He's got some velo. I mean, it's 91 to 93.
Went 5 2/3 against Alabama. One and two.
If you just watch the arm action on the changeup, you don't really, you think it's a fastball every time. That's what makes it so good. It's the grip that takes all of the velocity off. Pearson got enough of it to make it a one-run game.
But that was in the zone. No one in Division I baseball throws a changeup more often than Chris Veach does. He serves one up to Travinski and tries it again. And Travinski off his front foot. He was also against Alabama. He would do the high leg kick and pause, then he'd quick pitch. I mean, it was a variance of the routine to try and get them off the changeup.
Same pitch, different look. Just trying to break any kind of rhythm that the hitter has. 71 miles an hour. I don't think he's thrown anything but changeup since coming in.
There's another, and Travinski fouls it off. Kind of like being at a roulette wheel. There's no way Red's going to hit again.
Just keeps hitting.
Another changeup, a swing and a miss.
Oh, see, everybody's trying to help you. Hart, look at that.
This ball is roped to right field, and little leap from Marson to haul it in. Austin Brindling swinging at the first. I know Dari will be up.
Be up for a little bit.
Have a post-game show.
That's a pretty good route change right there by the freshman. Broke in and had to turn around and go all the way back. Is yet to make an error in right field this year, and he's been the starter for now better than half the season.
Justin Lohr likes it, but that will do it for Lohr with 1 out in the 8th, and Ethan Petrie coming up. Back to the bullpen for the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Junior Fidel Ulloa enters the game for LSU with bases empty and 1 out in the 8th inning. He'll face Petrie, Jackson, and then the red hot Messina coming up. 17th appearance for Ulloa. 22 Ks on the season. He has become a reliable piece of this LSU bullpen.
Low 90s fastball slider, pretty much, well, really entirely 2-pitch guy, whether it's righties or lefties. About a 50-50 mix between the two.
Petrie looks at the first pitch low. One for 3 night for the Carolina slugger. Now 1-1. Ulloa spent a couple of years at San Joaquin Delta College in Stockton, California. 2-1. You play in the Cali League?
Played in Stockton. Did. Isn't too far from Lodi. Yes, I was a port.
How was that ballpark?
That one wasn't good. That one was a little old. New ballpark since then.
Were you a fan of Stockton?
There's other places I've liked a lot more.
Maybe the Chamber of Commerce could send you something. Get you to say nice things about it.
What they could send?
Crushed
Avocados.
grapes.
Crushed grapes would work as well.
Blake Jackson coming up. Injuries base 4 times tonight. Bloop single, a walk, an infield single, and a hit by pitch. 17th time he's been hit by a pitch this season. Leo misses low and in. Smothered by Milazzo. And here's Nate Yeski. Otherwise, you throw a hodgepodge of bullpen guys likely.
Oh my.
If Milazzo catches that, is it a strike?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't matter on that one, I don't think, but it looked like it was there.
Rio to Jackson. It's not just Comasina's week, but even this day, grand slam to get things started in the 3rd.
Actually got better. He had 3 home runs and 8 RBIs coming into the first 2 games, and now he's driven in 6 more. That's 4 home runs, including a grand slam. 14 RBIs in the first 3 games, and a jersey and pants to make it look like he's worked for it. And he has.
Stain stick ain't gonna help. 8 for 11 this week. Jay Johnson has gone to the bullpen 4 times after Thatcher Hurd gave him 2+ innings, and something got into the eye of Milazzo. All right, hear me out. I got an idea.
Okay.
It's a uniform idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Comasina's uniform right now it looks perfect. But he's had to work really hard behind the plate on base pass to get there.
Okay.
So how about uniforms that come like that? So for Little League teams that are playing in a summer tournament, how cool would they think that
it doesn't wash out? It's
no,
just like
it's
that.
yeah, it's made like it's printed with it's a white uniform, but it's got a little dirt on it, maybe some clay, and you just roll into day one. You're fresh as a daisy, but it looks like you've been playing all week.
Yeah, your mom's happy because there's probably less work. It's
You're not going to get it any dirtier.
I mean, I've heard worse ideas in my life.
Thank you. Take that as a compliment.
Why don't you hit the equity highway, see who's willing to show up for that one, and let me know how it's received.
Call the Under Armour people. The 1-0 to Messina. Most of my good ideas come after nightfall. And
Good news is you got one more after this, so we're all about to get smarter.
%90 of my bad ideas come at the same time, so good luck with the balance. Messina sends that one past the lights. Foul. Two on and 1 out. Messina's second team all SEC selection. Fouls it back. About 4 weeks ago, Mark Kingston said about his team, at the end of the day, what's most important is that we have this figured out by the end of the season when the games are win or go home. And that was in relation specifically to the starting rotation, but could apply to the team as a whole. Skips across the plate.
I don't know that they have those answers from a starting rotation standpoint.
No, but you're just going to have to win games a little differently. You might have to win a 10-9 game.
Mississippi State won the whole thing, or almost won the whole thing, when they ended up getting beat in the finals by leaning on their bullpen all the way through. Yep.
Ulloa records his first out.
Combine that fastball that was up in the zone earlier in this at bat with this one, and you're going to get that reaction. The hands just can't start. You think the fastball is going to keep going, stay out of the zone. Instead, it was the slider, and came down and found the top part.
And here's Parker Nolan. You know, the way MLB has handled their jerseys this season, maybe they would go for that idea.
Be an upgrade at this point.
And here's the sell. Instead of City Connect, it's Farm Connect. Comes with the smell and everything already included.
You get rural America back involved in Major League Baseball.
100%.
Yeah, you're I don't know that you're raising any more money, but you've got a few more ideas.
You had scratch and sniff stickers on your Trapper Keeper, didn't you?
Did.
Probably had some Garbage Pail Kids too.
I actually think I still do.
Take a picture. Won't forget this night.
Hey, that's mine. I want it back.
Nolan got jammed, sends it into the seats. The best part is the kids that get the foul ball in the stands then have to sprint all the way to wherever their group is, whether it's their family or their buddies down on the hill, and show off their trophy. Wait, what section are we in? Yep. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a fastball up. Here's Stephen Milam upstairs. 3 hits for Milam, all 3 singles before a 7th inning strikeout. The velocity on Veach's changeup is lower even than his outing 2 days ago.
And significantly lower than it was last year. Last year, Veach threw that same pitch about 80 miles an hour. This year, today we've seen it as low as 71.
It's like trying to hit a cotton ball.
Reactions to it by hitters sometimes look like it's a knuckleball, and it's not. He's throwing it like a changeup, but guys are jumping at it because you almost want to run and go hit it.
Milam asked for time, 1-2.
Thanks to our buddies at 643 Charts that keep pumping us stats the entire game.
They can basically get us any information we want, right? Milam grounds it through the right side, and LSU has a tying run on here in the ninth.
That's a 4-hit night for the freshman. Singled in the first, in the second, singled in the fourth, singled in the fifth. Now a leadoff single in the ninth. He had seen it a few times. It's the same thing. I don't think he's thrown anything but a changeup since coming into the game. But after swinging through one off the plate, Milam stays on that, drives it to right field. There'll be a pinch runner comes in for the Tigers. Look like Paxton Kling.
That's him. And here's Jake Brown, who's had a good night at the plate, 2 for 4 with a 2-run home run. Kling 8 of 10 on the bases, and this ball is locked to the left side. Kling will stop at second. Tigers have 2 aboard here in the 9th.
You don't have to hit it hard if you just hit it where they ain't. And that's exactly what it was. It wasn't a shift, but Will Tippett, the shortstop, was pushed up the middle right off the end of the bat. It's a 3-hit night for that freshman. Freshman in the 6 and 7 slot combined have 7 hits tonight. Here's another one.
Ashton Larson 0 for 4 and a changeup away, 1-0. Second career 4-hit game for Stephen Milam to start this 9th inning. Changeup hammer to right field. Petrie back and will haul it in. Tagging from second is Kling. And the tying run now 90.
LSU over the course of the year, 12 sack bunts. Alec Milazzo leads them with 4 himself. Got to think that's what that conversation was about right now. How to defend the safety, how to defend the suicide squeeze. Holding them at first and playing back at third.
Squares pulled it back. They'll give him second. And 2 in scoring position with Jake Brown scampering there.
I think it was a fake bunt steal the entire time.
Okay.
To where you saw the way the infield reacted and they were going all over the place. Jake Brown was off and running. There was no throw made to second base. Now do you keep it on or turn Milazzo loose, because single to the outfield probably gives LSU the lead.
2-0 now to Milazzo. They're going to sneak in the outfield. Austin Brindling was moving in a few steps. .2-0 pitch. High fly ball to left field. Jackson back to the warning track and catch made up against the wall. Scampering home is Kling, and we are tied at 10 in the 9th.
Milazzo's had a really productive night at the plate. He already hit one over the left fielder's head. Had 2 hits coming into this. This one just about carried out of the ballpark. South Carolina just about got burned for bringing their infielders in, because Milazzo takes Blake Jackson, who started this game in center field, all the way to the base of the wall. Kling scores easily to tie it. Heads up base running by Jake Brown to go from second to third.
And Mark Kingston out. And he's going to want to review to see if Kling left early. Jay Johnson says he did not get the challenge in time. There is a limit as to.
All right, just kidding.
Yeah. Shakespeare would say that signified nothing. So Braswell at the plate with 2 out. Former Gamecock has a chance to give his new team the lead. LSU just 2 for 11 with 2 outs tonight. Change up for a strike. Another one misses, 1-1. It really does act like a knuckleball.
I mean, it just floats when it gets in there. 74 miles an hour right then. Again, it's been as low as 71. Can't gauge it off his fastball yet because he hadn't thrown one.
Carolina will have their 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up in their half of the 9th. Fouled off.
93. First fastball of the game right there. Changeup's been as low as 71 miles an hour. That is 24th pitch of the game. The first 23 were changeups, and on pitch 24, it's a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Changeup, fair ball. LSU takes the lead on a Michael Braswell single. Might mean a little bit more for Braswell, the former Gamecock, to come through in the clutch.
There's been so much magic from LSU historically in this ballpark, and for Braswell, he wasn't wearing this jersey last year. He is right now. Got a changeup elevated enough, got the barrel to it, hooks it just inside the line. Third hit of the 9th inning for LSU, but that one gives him the lead.
Up in a different jersey this season. And here's Tommy White. White swings at the changeup, sends it into center. Brindling all the way back to the wall. It is caught at the fence. What a play by Austin Brindling. And he. A couple of changes for LSU defensively as Will Tippett gets his first plate appearance of this game. He came in as a pinch runner back in the 6th. The fastball's popped up on the first pitch. Ben Nipple just entered the game at second, and Pultwell put it away. Seems to find you, huh?
Funny how that works. I think this next one's going to center.
Paxton Kling stays in the game in center field. Here's Dalton Reeves. He is 1 for 4 tonight. Ulloa delivers a fastball for a strike. Ulloa walked the first 2 he faced, and even in the midst of the at bat to Blake Jackson, the second batter, the LSU pitching coach came out to have a word with him and somehow figured it out. Now they count 1-1.
He struck out Messina and Nolan to end the 8th. South Carolina stranded 2.
1-2 now.
There's the good slider. Fastball up to 96. That one at 88. Started at the knees, and really good top to bottom break. He may have looked uncomfortable when he came in, but Ulloa is looking pretty good right now.
Yeski eventually calmed him down, and a line drive foul. Reeves singled to start the 7th, but was out on a beautiful 1-6-3 double play started by, or 2-6-3, pardon me, started by Milazzo. Golf this breaking ball into right center field. That one will get down for a hit. And South Carolina brings a winning run to the plate.
That spoiled a pretty good pitch right there. Ulloa had got the swing and miss on the exact same slider earlier in the at bat. That is just about taking it right off the plate. Keeps that front side in there long enough to get the barrel to it, flick it out to right center field, and give South Carolina a base runner here in the 9th.
And South Carolina will send a pinch runner in at first, Dylan Brewer. Reeves does his job. Talmadge LeCroy down on the count, 0-1. Brewer at first is 3rd on the team in stolen bases. He is 12 of 14 on the year. Not going here. Poke to shallow right field. Larson. 2 down. If South Carolina can't mount a comeback here, it'll be the first loss of the season that they've suffered when leading after 8 innings. They'd won the previous 23. And here's Gavin Casas. Messina with a grand slam. 3-run single. Milazzo to the mound. South Carolina only has one walk-off win in their SEC tournament history. It came in 2007 against Florida. Casas has a chance for redemption after his error helped LSU in the 9th. Pardon me, in the 8th. Tigers 2 runs in the 8th and 2 in the 9th to take the lead. Didn't we have a 2-1 game a couple nights ago?
Yes.
Yeah. And a 1-0 game last weekend?
Yes. This isn't that.
No, this ain't it. Departure. What we'd seen recently upstairs, 1-1.
21 runs, 25 combined hits. South Carolina's made 4 errors.
Moon can't decide if it's coming or going. 1-1. Fidel Ulloa, the 4th pitcher of the game for LSU. And he's trying to nail it down with South Carolina down to its last strike. The 1-2 to Casas. Swinging a fly ball into center. Paxton Kling is there, and LSU, with a come from behind win, scoring 2 in the 8th and 2 in the 9th, and the Tigers get Friday off and a date in the semifinals on Saturday.
LSU over the course of the year, 12 sack bunts. Alec Milazzo leads them with 4 himself. Got to think that's what that conversation was about right now. How to defend the safety, how to defend the suicide squeeze. Holding them at first and playing back at third.
Squares pulled it back. They'll give him second. And 2 in scoring position with Jake Brown scampering there.
I think it was a fake bunt steal the entire time.
Okay.
To where you saw the way the infield reacted, and they were going all over the place. Jake Brown was off and running. There was no throw made to second base. Now do you keep it on or turn Milazzo loose, because single to the outfield probably gives LSU the lead.
2-0 now to Milazzo. They're going to sneak in the outfield. Austin Brindling was moving in a few steps. 2-0 pitch. High fly ball to left field. Jackson back to the warning track, and catch made up against the wall. Scampering home is Kling, and we are tied at 10 in the ninth.
Milazzo's had a really productive night at the plate. He already hit one over the left fielder's head. Had 2 hits coming into this. This one just about carried out of the ballpark. South Carolina just about got burned for bringing their infielders in, because Milazzo takes Blake Jackson, who started this game in center field, all the way to the base of the wall. Kling scores easily to tie it. Heads up base running by Jake Brown to go from second to third.
And Mark Kingston out. And he's going to want to review to see if Kling left early. Jay Johnson says he did not get the challenge in time. There is a limit as to